Okay, I've got both the power valves out right now. As you can see, there is some pretty heavy carbon buildup, which has been probably the source of some power loss. Just getting out of the hole, I noticed it was being a bit boggy. Mid-range kind of power. It's getting boggy. And it's not my clutches because I just rebuilt those. They're all fresh. This is the other one. We got right and left. Now the left one, or the right one here, looks like it's got a bit of a an oil leak here. I'm not sure whether that's just the leak of the cap to the bellows, or it could mean something worse, like a crack in the bellows, and we will go and investigate further, find out. Okay, we're going to continue on with the disassembly of the power valve. The same 10 mil bolt, or the same 10 mil wrench you use to take the screws out. These screws here, which stay with the power valve, they can be used to remove the cap as well. Okay, we're going to take this cap off carefully. Take a look inside. Actually, the bellows look like they're in pretty good shape. So I don't think there's any problem there. I think it's just it's developed some kind of a leak down here. Probably because these caps need to be replaced. They're getting a little tired. So this spring here has to stay on that nut. There's a nut here. Actually, that can come off. If needed to, or if you needed to replace these bellows, which these ones don't need to be replaced, they're in good shape, you would notice cracks along the outside here, which would lead to exhaust bypassing and getting into the other side of the on this side of the bellows, which is bad. You'd see like a cloudy or like a tan color of smoke on the outside here, which is basically saying that there's unburnt fuel getting on this side, and you would see oil leaking on this side, but there's no signs of cracks. If you had to replace, you would undo this nut, and then there's a washer underneath there, and this rubber diaphragm comes off, and then you'd put a new one on and put this nut back on. But I think we're okay. I think we can just get away with a cleaning now. You might want to check underneath here. You can pull this back, lift these bellows up. They're full of oil under here. So we'll just clean that up a little bit. But other than that, these things spin. These guillotines, they'll spin. So you can't put them back together wrong. That's the great thing about these valves, is you spin it like that, it won't fit back into the port in the block, but it goes like that. You can tell right away if it's wrong, the way it goes back together. So I'm going to just give this a little bit of a clean up. As you can see, I've spent quite a bit, well, a little bit of time anyways, to clean off all of that heavy carbon that's on the side here. I haven't done yet, but this surface is clean. Now, one thing to note about this is that there's a difference in the color of the aluminum here. Now, these are very, very old power valves. They've been cleaned lots of times. This lighter colored aluminum here is like the base metal. Originally, these guillotines would have been treated with an anodizing process, so it would give it a hard surface, like a hard. It's not quite like a heat treatment process, but it's an electrical process that creates a hard skin on the aluminum, and it allows it to wear better, or meaning wear less. A lot of it on this guillotine is missing. It's all gone, but it really doesn't affect the performance of what the guillotine has to do. I mean, eventually these will just be so worn out, there's going to be a bit of blow by, and they get a lot dirtier quicker because the anodizing actually allows them to be cleaned easier. But you know what, this sled's got so many miles on it, I'm just going to clean them up and put them back together. It's going to run 100% better. This side of the guillotine needs to be done yet. There's a lot of burnt oil on there, so we got a bit more cleaning to do yet. Okay, as far as putting the power valve back in, you might want to bring it back to the sled just to check out the orientation of that guillotine, because I've spun this around 100 million different ways. For the 600 XC, I know for a fact that there is a little boss on the base casting that goes up. The guillotine can't go in wrong. If it goes in that way, no problem. If you put it in upside down, it hangs up here. Can't go in. No way it's going to fit, okay? There's no way it's going to go back together like that. So it goes like that with the guillotine, and then you rotate the base until this is up, that little notch there, and then it'll go back together. So now I'm going to go back to the bench with this unit and, you know, just put the cap back on. Inside the port, if you feel it's necessary, go ahead and clean it. I only clean it if I see burnt on chunks of carbon on there. If they're stuck on, yeah, you can go in there and use a screwdriver and a bit of Scotch-Brite and clean them off. This one's not too bad. You know, use your own discretion. Usually they're pretty good in there. You don't have to do much. I might wipe that out with some paper towel. Do whatever you need to do to make sure that you keep the guillotine orientated properly with the base. I've just done this so many times. I just know that on my sled this goes up and the bevel part of this goes down. That's just the way it is. That's how I know. The one key critical thing here is when you are putting this together, when the cap goes on over top of these bellows here, the cap clamps the bellows in there to make a seal. And once it's clamped, the bellows are attached to the guillotine here with this nut. So if you spin the guillotine, the bellows spin. So you want to get proper alignment when you put the cap back on. You don't want your bellows to clamp and hold everything rigid with your guillotine askew like that, or else you're going to have scoring and the guillotine's going to hang up. You want to have that lined up with these two alignment dogs that are on the base. If need be, you can always check the slide in there, make sure nothing hangs up. If you have to, undo the cap and readjust or just tweak this positioning in order to get it so that the guillotine runs with nice, smooth, fluid motion without hanging up. Because if it does, you're going to have problems. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're putting the cap back on. Difference between what a new bellows looks like and an old one. Obviously, this is a new gasket. There's the part number if you need it for a 2001 Liberty engine 600. This is the bellows number. Obviously you've seen what old ones can look like. I just showed you how they get a bit of brown on the bottom side of the diaphragm. These ones are actually were replaced last year, so they're still pretty in good shape. This one here was replaced just before it started to crack. You can see in there's a crack forming. It's not all the way through yet. If I turn it right inside out, you can see that's pretty nasty. She's about ready to let go. And if it lets go, you'll know, because there'll be lots of smoke coming out and oil all over the place on your hood. This one hasn't actually gone right through, but to show you what new ones look like, this is a brand new one.